Today's episode of the English Right Now podcast is something truly British. It is making a cup of tea. In the UK, tea isn't just a drink, it's a tradition, it's a comfort, it's even a way that we connect with others. And in this episode, we'll give you a step-by-step guide of how to make a proper British cup of tea. We're going to share some cultural insights and teach you at least 10 related pieces of vocabulary. We say at least 10 because it's a real conversation in which anything can happen with my dear friend Rob. Hello!
Hello, Roy.
Hey! How are you?
I've got a cuppa here already. Lovely.
Is it a cup of tea?
It's a cup of tea. It's a cup of tea.
I've got a nice cockapoo mug here for my cup. But how many cups of tea would you say you drink a day?
Quite a few. 5 or 6, probably. 5 or 6 cups of tea.
Do you ever sleep, or are you?
I am addicted to tea, I have to say.
Yeah.
I can't get out of bed without a cup of tea in the morning for a start, and then I might have a cup of tea before bed. Finish the day with a cup of tea, although that's usually a decaffeinated cup of tea. That one.
Okay. Yeah, because we can, because there's quite a lot of caffeine in tea. But do you normally drink tea or coffee? What do you normally drink?
It's a mix, really. I start with tea, then I probably move on to the harder stuff, the coffee, mid-morning for a change in taste, bit of a pick-me-up, I guess. Bit more caffeine in coffee, isn't there?
I read it was the other way around. I thought it was the other way around. There's more caffeine in a standard cup of tea than there is in a standard cup of coffee. But maybe in an espresso, there's more caffeine.
Yes, I think it's more concentrated, isn't it, in coffee? That's the problem. It is. Whereas, So anyway, tea. I mix it up a bit, but I do start the day with I start the day with a cup of tea, and I end it with a cup of tea. And sometimes I have it in a mug like this. Sometimes I might even make a pot of tea so that I get a few cups out of it.
Nice. So we're going to talk about the real British experience. I don't know, because tea is something really important. I mean, we've worked in offices together, us, and quite often we've gone for a nice little 5-minute tea break. Tea break is one of the key pieces of vocabulary. It's a short rest at work or home to have a cup of tea. And I remember you'd say, "Cup of tea." Yeah, go on then. Or I'd say, "Cup of tea." 5 minutes, yeah. Let's go. And it's quite. I wouldn't say it's not discouraged in work to have this kind of 5 minutes away from your desk. Some offices to have 5 minutes to kind of refresh, and it's a good place to have a chat, isn't it, and unwind.
Oh yeah, it's a sociable time to have a chat, and I say we call it a tea break. I mean, you don't have to drink tea, of course. It's not the rule that you have to. It's just that the term we use is a tea break. It can be coffee, of course, or anything else. Or you don't even have to have the tea. You just have the break. But traditionally, you make a cup of tea and you have a chat. And the whole process of making the tea, you have a chat while you do it. It's a nice experience.
Yeah, it is. And it's that welcome break, isn't it, as well? And we got a lot to talk about. But, first of all, let's get another key piece of vocabulary out the way. We normally call a cup of tea a cuppa. A cuppa. It's an informal British way of saying a cup, because we say a cup of tea, and we're basically just saying a cuppa, which is spelled slightly different to a cup of tea, but we don't say it like that. We say a cup of tea or just a cuppa. And a cuppa, to answer everybody's question, only refers to a cup of tea. So nobody's going to go fancy a cuppa and get coffee.
No.
It's tea. And we say fancy a cuppa. It's a traditional way of asking. Fancy a cuppa means do you want? Yeah. It's a slang way of saying do you want a cup of tea? Fancy a cuppa.
Absolutely. And to say that we say a cuppa, but it doesn't always mean you have it in a cup. You can have it in a mug.
No.
It's a cup and saucer. That's the very posh way of drinking tea. But you can have a mug as well, like this.
Yes, and that's also a key piece of vocabulary. We're getting through the vocabulary right now. So a mug is a kind of larger version of the cup with a handle. It's a bit more sturdy, isn't it? It's a bit stronger. Like you say, I think cup and saucer is a bit more refined. You said posh, but a bit more refined. And you would imagine that a person like a builder who's building a wall or a house or something would have a mug of tea. They wouldn't have a little cup and saucer. So yeah, so we have it in a mug. So it should be a mugger, but that sounds really bad.
Mug of tea.
Mugger tea. Fancy a mugger. But we don't say that, do we? It's a mugger is a person who robs you. So yeah. So how do you make a cup of tea?
This is the $1 million question, isn't it? How do you make a cup of tea, a cuppa? Of course, people all around the world have different ways of making tea, but in Britain, I think obviously the first thing to do is boil the water. So you need to boil some water, usually in a kettle. Boil the water, and then
two pieces of vocabulary already.
Wow, you're on fire.
So boil is heat the water until it becomes 100 degrees, until it bubbles, basically. And like you say, you can boil the water in a pan or something like this, but we normally do it in a kettle, which is an electric pot, basically, that we plug into the wall, switch on. Very British. Every British kitchen has a kettle. When I moved into my studio here, the first thing I bought, kettle.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
And we plug it in the wall, and it boils the water for us, and then it kind of clicks at the end to tell us it's done.
Yes. I'd say a lot of people say, "Oh, I'll put the kettle on. I'll put kettle on," which is basically code for saying I'm going to make a cup of tea. I'll put kettle on.
I'll put the kettle on. It's like the most British way. I remember once I'd been traveling, and I was very happy to see my parents. I arrived at my parents' house after traveling quite a bit, and I was like, "Hello, Mum. Hello, Dad." And my dad went, "Hello. I'll put the kettle on." And it was like, I am home. Yeah. I am home. You know, the emotional value of that phrase is incredible. You can't describe it. I'll put the kettle on. Or some people say stick. I'll stick the kettle on. Same meaning. Bit more informal, though.
But it doesn't mean you're going to wear it. You're not going to put the kettle on. No. You're going to switch it on. Switch it on.
Switch it on. But nobody says I'll switch on the kettle. It sounds a bit too off. There's nothing wrong with saying I'll switch the kettle on. But put the kettle on is the most stick it on, or
So anyway, we've got the boiling water.
So you've got the boiled water.
Yeah. And then so the next thing is, well, you've got two ways you can do this now. Is you pour when the water boils, you pour the water either into a pot, a teapot that has some tea leaves in it. So you allow a sort of bigger pot of tea, or what we tend to do these days to save time is pour the water straight into a mug or a cup.
Yeah.
And there's a tea bag. Look, there's my tea bag.
Yes.
There's a tea bag in it.
So lots of good vocabulary there again. A tea bag is a small paper packet filled with tea leaves. So you've got the tea leaves, and it's designed that the water kind of infuses with the tea, but the bits of tea, the tea leaves don't escape. So you can put the tea bag into the mug, and then pour the water, the boiling water, over it. And like you say, the other way is a teapot, another key piece of vocabulary, a container used for brewing multiple cups of tea. And you can put in a teapot, you can put tea bags. Some people say one for each person and one for the pot. So if there's two of us, we'd have 3 bags in there. Depends on how strong you like it. And some people don't use tea bags. They use loose leaf tea, which is tea made from whole leaves instead of tea bags. But there are special kinds of teapots for loose leaf tea. I've got one here, but I realized I can't show you because I haven't got milk.
Oh, no. Oh, disaster.
I know. Which is why...
I'm a fan of loose leaf tea, though, because I think you get better flavour. This is one for debate, isn't it? I think the quality of tea in a tea bag is not as good as having loose leaf tea. And of course, then there's lots of different varieties of loose leaf tea. English breakfast is the most traditional, but there's Lapsang, Souchong, Darjeeling, Earl Grey, all different flavours of tea. But you get much more flavour. But to get that flavour, you have to put it in a pot, not just in a cup. But there does come a problem, doesn't there, when you pour the tea out like that?
With the bits?
The leaves, So what do you do, Roy?
Strain that cup. You strain it, sir. So we have a little device. Well, it's a little kind of piece of, it's like a piece of metal, like a little sieve. and you pour the water through it, and it catches the extra leaves that have escaped. But normally I would drink tea bags. I've got about 1,000 tea bags back here.
It's more convenient.
Huge
I know.
pot.
It's more convenient.
Yeah. It's an easier way to make tea because it's quite the process. But we've talked about so that we get the mug, we drop the tea bag in there, and we pour the water over it. The boiling water. It needs to be boiling. A lot of people are going to say, when does the milk get involved? And does it always? When do you put the milk in? Milk in first or milk in last?
No. Well, as you say, to make the tea, you need boiling water. So if you put the milk in first, that water will immediately cool down. And I think anyway, that you won't get the proper full flavor. So you put the boiling water in first, let the tea bag sit in the water for a bit so the flavor, comes out. Maybe let it stew a bit. We sometimes let it stew, which means let it sit.
Stew's a little bit negative, isn't it? I'd say brew. Let it brew,
brew
maybe.
Sorry, brew.
Yeah.
Stew is when it's over brewed, I suppose. In a way, isn't it? Yes. When you stew it, it gets a bit too strong. Yeah.
And then you add a splash of milk when
then
you're ready.
So
the reason I brought this up. So first of all, brew is a key piece of vocabulary. It's when we let the tea sit in hot water so it develops the flavor. So you're right. We put a mug, put the tea bag in, boiling water, and we allow it to just stay there for a few minutes. 3 minutes, I normally let it stay there, and that's while it brews. Any more than that, it starts to stew, which is when it goes a bit too heavy, maybe a bit too. Yeah. So, and then we kind of remove the bag and throw it away. The reason I was talking about milk in first is because of the amount of times, or the milk in first, milk in last. The amount of times I have this conversation with students, and they say, "No, Roy, you put the milk in first. That's how everybody does it." And no, the standard British person: tea bag, water, brew, splash of milk at the end. Do you know where this kind of idea of milk in first comes from?
No, I don't know.
Okay. So apparently, in the times before, the olden times, because tea's been with us for quite some time. It arrived, I think, in England in the 1600s from China. And I don't know what point we started adding milk or something like that. I don't know. But apparently the cups, which were made of porcelain, were so delicate that if you put boiling water in first, apparently they would break. This is the rumor. I don't know how true this is, but this is the story.
Yeah.
So effectively, like, they would put milk in first to make sure it didn't break the cup.
Right.
And that's where that idea came from.
That makes sense.
Realistically, you can put milk in first if you've brewed it in a teapot as well.
Yeah.
Because then the tea is separate and you know what you're getting as well. So you could put the milk in first if it's in a teapot. But if it's all made in a mug or a cup, no. And these days, the kind of quality is potentially, it's a bit stronger, the material. This is where it breaks, isn't it?
The handle falls off.
The cockapoo's falling apart. It's fine. But apparently it's a bit stronger, so it can withstand the heat of boiling water, which is why we can now do it this way. And most people will.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I was going to say, sorry to interrupt, but talking about the milk is quite important because it's a very British thing to have milk in your tea. Lots of people have tea, what we say, black, with no milk in it. It's just literally the tea bag in the water, which to me seems a bit of a waste. But British people, again, there's a historic reason for this. I can't quite explain it, but we have milk in our tea, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
And if you like it milky, you put more milk in. And if you like it quite dark, you just, as you say, put a splash of milk in it. Yeah.
Yes. And this is another reason I'd say it's so, like I say, with the teapot, it's less important when the milk goes in. But in a mug, not only does it cool down the water, but also it's hard to know the right amount of milk. So if you want the tea, you can first of all get the tea to the level you want, and then you can add the milk to taste.
Yeah.
So it becomes a much more kind of it's an easier to control situation for the tea. So we've got to the point where the mug is there, tea bag's in, water's there, brewing. You then remove the tea bag. You
Yeah.
maybe throw it in the bin, and then you add that splash of milk, and then you stir it, don't you? And
Yeah.
stirring is when we move a spoon around, and it kind of mixes it all up. It's a key piece of vocabulary right there. You stir it.
Yeah. And of course, you might add sugar as well. Some people, not
Yes.
me, will put an extra,
No.
spoonful of sugar or two and stir it a bit more so the sugar dissolves. The other thing is, if you don't add milk, some perhaps more refined people put a slice of lemon in their tea, don't they?
I'm clearly not refined, Rob.
No, nor me.
I've never put milk in. I've never put lemon in tea.
But some people do have a slice of lemon instead of milk. This may be, again, a historic thing. We obviously, in the days of the empire, when we ruled India, and they grew a lot of tea in India, and when they drank it in India, it was probably too hot for milk. Milk probably went sour, so maybe they added lemon instead. That's my guess, anyway.
That's your theory. I like it. But yeah, so I mean, it's, and we need to say it's not every cup of tea that has milk. It's mainly for teas like Earl Grey and an English breakfast. Some teas, like fruit teas, we have a number of fruit teas like lemon tea and all these kind of ginger teas and all these kind of things.
Green tea.
You would never add milk to that.
No,
they
don't mix.
No, so some teas are designed to be black, as you say, without milk. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. And the other thing I once saw was apparently somebody added salt to tea and said it tasted amazing. Yeah. Have you ever tried it?
No, and I'm not going to try it. Thank you.
I did. I did. I did. I tried. Yeah. No. But yeah. So what other ways? We need to talk about dunking a biscuit, don't we?
Ah, yes, because every good cup of tea probably needs a biscuit on its side, and the best way to eat that biscuit is dunk it in your tea. Yeah, good idea.
And dunk it means dip it in quickly, doesn't it? To get the water, to get the tea in there. I suppose that would be an even stranger idea. So you've got milk and tea, and then suddenly you're dunking biscuits in there. We need to. So often students will say biscuit is the British word, cookie is the American word. And that's largely true, although we do have cookies in the UK. It's a specific type of biscuit. Students always ask me the difference between biscuit and cookie. So Americans use cookie for pretty much every type of biscuit. We refer to them all as biscuits, but a cookie is a specific type of biscuit that contains chocolate chips, usually.
And it's larger, isn't it? It's a big round thing.
It can
be. Yeah.
It can be larger. Sometimes you get smaller ones, which are from, I think they're an American brand.
Oh, Maryland cookies.
Yeah, Maryland cookies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would call those cookies. But generally the word is biscuit. And what is your favorite biscuit? This is the most British question I could ask.
Okay, well, if we're talking about dunking biscuits, the best biscuit to dunk is probably a rich tea biscuit, because they're actually very plain and simple, but dunk them in the tea makes them all soft and just quite nice to suck on.
I like a hobnob.
Yeah, hobnob's good.
That's a professional choice, in my opinion.
Okay,
so it's like an oaty biscuit, isn't it? The kind of but isn't the worst feeling when you pull it out and it's half missing?
Yes, you dunk it in your tea. That's right. And it goes so soggy, a bit drops off in your tea, and you've lost it.
Yeah, I mean, we've been known as some people have called us a nation of tea drinkers. And like they refer to England as a nation of tea drinkers, and the idea of biscuits and kind of dunking it, and this idea of a kind of a getting together at work, or you're feeling, if I felt a bit sad and I came to your house and I wanted to talk, it's like I'll stick the kettle on. It's like a key for let's have a chat, let's have a catch up. Are you all right? But it's during the Second World War, apparently tea was even rationed, but the government made sure that everyone had access to it, because it was seen as a source of sort of comfort, but also morale. I mean, we even have that phrase, don't we? It's not my cup of tea.
Yes.
Do you?
You said
Uh,
it's not something.
would
I mean, it's not really referring to tea, is it? It just
no.
means, yeah, not my cup of tea means it's not something I particularly like.
Yeah, it's not my preference.
Yeah.
I would definitely say that this is my opinion. I don't think this phrase is as common as it once was.
Mm,
I think it's still you still hear it, but I think it gets over taught to students. Um,
mm.
I think everybody learns it as their kind of first of a couple of idioms. That and it's raining cats and dogs, and both of those aren't as common as I think students are led to believe.
No,
But we do still say it, but probably more naturally we'd say that's not my thing. By the way, while you can say it's not my cup of tea, we don't normally say it is my cup of tea. It's not
mm,
as common in the positive.
no,
I don't
no.
I don't know if you'd yeah,
I
but
I agree. Yeah, I was gonna say that obviously coffee has infiltrated British society a bit, and a lot of people drink coffee, all the different types of coffee. But I still think it's
yeah.
fair to say that tea is the national drink, the official national drink
Yeah.
of the UK.
I think it's
A nice
the
cup of tea. It's always a nice cup of tea, we say as well. Do you want a nice cup of tea?
oh, do you fancy it? Yeah. No,
A
I'd like a
nice one.
terrible one. Put the milk in first, Rob. I'd like a terrible one. Oh my goodness. And it is. I think it's a drink now that's more common at home than it is at home or in the office than it is out and about. We don't see as many tea shops as we used to.
No, that's true.
Something I find quite funny is an afternoon tea is a bit of a different thing as well because it's got sometimes sandwiches and things like this.
Yes.
Also, I would definitely say, when was the last time you had afternoon tea?
I can't remember.
Yeah,
In the Victorian times, probably I had one. We
when you
don't
met
tend
Dickens for a cup of tea and a nice
yes,
cucumber sandwich.
we don't
This is the
tend to.
thing.
It's very civilized. It's a very civilized thing, but yes, I
It,
don't think we have the time to sit down and have afternoon tea, or also a cream tea. That's something we mentioned in a previous
cream teas.
podcast. A cream tea. Yeah.
We should do a whole podcast dedicated to this ritual because I have done it, but I think that's partially because my wife is from Brazil and she likes experiencing these things, and I must admit I do like it. I do
Mm.
like it now, but I've I'd never have dreamed of having one before my wife sort of said, let's have afternoon tea or let's have a
Mm.
cream tea.
Mm.
But it's something that it does represent a lot, a cup of tea. And you're right, coffee shops are dominating the high street a little bit now. And I can't imagine going to a coffee shop and asking for a cup of tea when there's the options of flat whites and cappuccinos and all these kind of
Well,
things.
that said, I mean, you can buy a cup of tea, but to be honest, I don't buy it because it's such a rip-off, we could say,
Yeah.
because they'll charge you the same price as a coffee for just putting a tea bag and some water in. I think, well, that's not
Well,
very good value, is it?
I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think you've got it exactly right. Hit the nail on the head means got it exactly right. I'd never thought of it that way, but I think you're right. I think it's this idea that I could make that at home for cheaper,
Hmm.
but I
Yeah.
couldn't make a nice cup of coffee like that. That
Yes.
takes a different skill that I don't have. Yeah, you're
Yes.
right. I think it
There's
might
more
be a
effort.
money thing.
Yeah, more effort has gone into making the coffee, so I understand the price. Tea is supposed to be simple and cheap, bit of hot water in a tea bag. But I say in a coffee shop, they'll charge you the same price as a coffee. So I tend to go for the coffee. Sorry, do I sound like a cheapskate?
No, I think that's probably what blocks me as well. Although if you go into a traditional cafe and you have like one of these sort of greasy spoons we call them,
Hmm.
and you have your fry up in the morning, and it's a traditional British cafe, you might have a cup of tea. Sometimes if it's really strong, we call it a cup of builders or a builders
Feel-
because it's so strong. Put hairs on
Yeah,
your chest, as they say.
that's how I
Really
like
kind of
it.
really strong. Do you like a strong cup of tea?
Oh, a nice strong cup of tea. Yes, a builder's tea, definitely. Can
Yeah.
be nice and dark. Still put milk in it, of course, but yeah, I like it strong and
My
dark.
I have to say my wife is now an expert at making a good strong cup of tea.
Mhm.
She's brilliant. It wasn't
Mm.
always the way. I think I've told this story before, but we had a friend come over and my wife said, "Would you like a cup of tea?" And then my, this friend said, "Oh, yes, please." And my wife brought out 2 cups of tea and they were so white. She'd put so much milk in it. The tea bag had probably just dipped in for 20 seconds, like 5 seconds, boop, boop, out. And bless her. And I remember my friend, our friend, looking at us and looking at me, and then I said, "Do you want me to make you another one?" She went, "Yeah." And after that, I taught my wife how to make a cup of tea, and now she fully passes the test.
Good. That's good. I shall pop
So
round for tea now. Then I shall
yes,
pop round for
absolutely.
tea.
But there's
She's
no
next.
biscuits. I'm cheap.
Oh.
Excuse me.
But we have lots of varieties of tea, as I mentioned earlier. Do you have a favourite? Is it the traditional English breakfast?
I like Earl Grey. I like Earl
Grey.
Grey and Lapsang. Is it Lapsang Souchong?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like that. And I used to like chai tea, but I've gone a bit off it of late. I think I drank too much. What about you?
Oh, I think it's still, well, I do like Lapsang Souchong. That's a special flavour, but generally it's a good old English breakfast. Your traditional English breakfast tea. Yeah, I like it.
Nice choice. And of course, we talk about it a lot. I mean, this is how iconic it is. I use, we use the site sort of, so we always say, if you want to support this podcast, you can always buy us a cup of tea from the link below. We all say this, but actually the site is called buy a coffee or buy a cup of coffee. And I changed it to say buy a cup of tea because that's how British it is. It's just so iconic. But you can support this podcast by clicking on the buy us a cup of coffee or cup of tea link. Oh, no, cup of tea link down below. But I just want to say thank you very much to people listening to us today. And also, Rob, thank you very much for this exciting insight into your life of tea.
I tell you what, I wouldn't give up tea for all the tea in China.
Oh, he's done it again. It's an expression we say. I wouldn't do this for all the tea in China, isn't it? There's no way in the world I would do this. Brilliant. No, I wouldn't either. It's yeah. I think it's my favorite thing in the world to have a cup of tea and a piece of cake. On that note, thank you very much for joining me. Have a great day.
Thanks, Roy. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
Okay, see you next time.